We are live.
Yes, we are.
Hi guys. If you are out there present in our interview, please make sure to write your name, comment, so that we know who is there. All right, so welcome to the new episode of Go With The Flow. Thank you everyone for joining us. I am your host today. My name is Florence Sophia. I am a certified yoga instructor, a Reiki healer, a holistic health coach, and also a blue belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athlete. I am so excited to introduce you today to Mayte Morelos. Thank you for being here with us today.
You're very welcome, Florence. My pleasure. Hi, guys.
So for those of you who don't know Mayte, she's a breathwork instructor and stress management coach, an NLP, which is a neuro-linguistic programming certified master practitioner. She combines the power of the mind and bodies through breathwork to help reduce the stress and burnout, so the emotional, physical, and spiritual. So ultimately helping people to expand their well-being, empower, and sustain by a radical change of your biochemistry and deep physiological level. So it's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
So excited to hear more. Mayte is also one of the few Wim Hof method instructor in Canada, as well as the only transformational breath group facilitator in Toronto, as well a HeartMath certified. She has trained for years personally with the world leaders in breathwork such as Wim Hof, Judith Kravitz, the creator of Transformational Breath, and also the world-renowned breathwork master Dan Brulé. And I'm sure many more as well.
Yes. Yeah, the list goes on and on.
So we'll keep it short right here. Hi Joy, thank you for joining us. So Mayte, before we get started, let's do a little meditation, help our audience get grounded and set an intention for this interview.
Absolutely. So hi guys, my name is Mayte, as Florence said. So before we begin, I know we've all probably had busy days and we might be running around after dinner and whatnot. So let's just take a minute to just ground ourselves, to just be here and be present, and just set a bit of an intention as well as to what do you want out of the next hour or so that we're going to be spending together. So if you can, just close your eyes. Of course, if you're not walking or driving, just close your eyes, and together, just to arrive at this moment, we're going to take 3 deep breaths and we're going to sigh out loud. So you're going to breathe all the way from the bottom of your belly through the top of your chest. Deep breath in again. All the way in. And just witness your breath. Notice how you're breathing. And very consciously start to slow it down. And as you do, start to feel just these roots growing out of your feet that are going down into the ground, all the way into the center, the core of the earth, connecting you with Mother Earth, feeling grounded, feeling strong, stable, like a tree. And breathing in all that wisdom and all that love of the earth into your heart. And as you breathe it into your heart, allow an intention to form. What do you want out of the next hour or so? Do you want to learn something? Do you want to experience something new? Do you want to just find a tool to feel better? Whatever that is, allow that intention to form into your heart. And with the next 3 breaths, expand that intention to occupy your entire heart. And slowly just open your eyes. And welcome.
Thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
great.
You're very welcome.
So Mayte, we met for the first time at your at one of your Wim Hof workshops.
Yes, we did.
And it was introduced by one of our common friends, Raul.
Yes.
Thank you, Raul.
Thank you, Raul.
And I felt it was very transformative for me. My experience with the cold bath, and that was in November of last year.
Yes, that was.
I thought my eyes will come out of their socket. But you were there to guide me, and I did it, and I was so proud. And since then, I'm taking cold showers every day.
Yes, and you have come out to the lake with us in the middle of the winter as well. So I'm so proud of you.
So how did you find your path? Because this is not your full-time job. You have another career.
Yes.
Tell us about your story. How did it all come about for you?
Absolutely. So for those of you that don't know me, I am also a real estate agent. I've had a real estate business here in Toronto for the past 14 years. And I started in this business very young, at 21 years old. And so I had a very clear goal. I want to be successful. The definition of success that society had given to me, which is make money, achieve more, get more, and just continue to do more. And I was very good at it. I started to just get more and more and more and more, and I started to do very well in my business, as it happens whenever you focus on something for a long time.
Right.
I started to do fairly well. I started to get all sorts of achievements and awards and everything that was successful. The funny thing was, I didn't feel successful. I knew the outside viewed me as successful, and inside it came to a point, and this happened very gradually, but about 7 to 8 years into the business, it came to the point where I was completely depressed. And that happened to be on the same year that I had reached a very big milestone, very big goal that I had set for myself when I was young. And I thought, oh, well, that's success. If I can get there, I can, it'll be awesome. I'll be so happy. Yes, I mean, everybody will be so happy, and I'll be on top of the world. And when I did, I was completely depressed, because I realized that it didn't mean anything to me. That all the achievements, the money, the people thinking, I was very successful, didn't make me feel good. And what had happened throughout those years is I had neglected every other part of my life that was not business related. And so at that point, I came at a crossroads in my life, and I thought, well, I'm not even 30 years old yet, and I cannot live the rest of my life like this. This is not going to be the next 30, 40 years of my life. I refuse to have that happen. And so I started on a quest to feel better. And I started first by going into looking at my mind. And I started studying neuro-linguistic programming, and I got a lot of really great tools to handle my mind. And as great as they were, and they were very helpful, there still came times when I had this very strongly conditioned stress patterns, that when they would come, I would just, the mind wasn't catching up quick enough to the stress in my body. And as luck would have it, I met a dear friend of mine in England around that time when I was studying neuro-linguistic programming, and he introduced me to this amazing healing modality called Breathwork. I had no idea what it was. I wasn't even looking to get into anything that would help my body, but the universe knew what it was doing, and it put it in front of me. And the very first time I experienced it, I had a massive release, and it was just like the gates were open, and I realized how much power lied behind my breath and lied behind my body. And very quickly I was hooked. So I was like, where do I get more of this?
It's my new drug.
Exactly. One of my mentors and teachers, Wim Hof, says that breathwork is getting high on your own supply, and I could not agree more. So I became a junkie very quickly for breathwork, and I started looking at where do I get this.
Yeah.
I'm a fairly obsessive person when I like something, so I knew I had to go study with the masters. And so I went to study with Wim Hof. I became an instructor. I went to study with Judith Kravitz, the creator of Transformational Breath, became a group leader, and yeah, from there it was just kind of like a snowball. I also started studying heart math. I'm doing a mentorship with Dan Brolé. So just soaking up everything that I could possibly do in the beginning just for myself. And very quickly I realized that this wasn't powerful just for me, but this was powerful for everybody. And I thought, hey, like, I have these amazing tools. It's selfish to just keep it for myself. If I can share it, if I can, and it lights me up. Just when I see people like you who come to the workshop, who learn the tools and who use them and get their lives to become better and stronger and healthier, it really lights me up. So I just kept doing it.
I feel the same way when I teach yoga.
Yes.
When I finish my practice with students, I feel like I was in Shavasana for the whole hour.
Yes.
It lights me up as well. So before we go into more depth with the Wim Hof, what are the biggest misconception about meditation, breath work, Wim Hof? There's a lot of confusion out there. Can you clarify
Sure,
that?
absolutely. So a lot of people tend, when they hear breath work, because it's, by the way, also in Canada, it's a fairly new modality. There's very, very few of us that do any kind of breath work modalities, really. There's a lot of misconceptions. One of them being, oh, well, it's just breathing. I'm always breathing, so I don't really need to look very much into it. Or I meditate, so that's breath work. And I suppose meditation is a kind of breath work, but most breathwork modalities tend to be fairly active. There are some that are a little bit more calming, but there's more than just witnessing your breath, which is generally what you're doing in meditation. You're witnessing, you're being present. It requires a little bit more. Even the techniques that are calming, it still require you to be doing something a little bit more active than just witnessing the coming and going of your breath. So that is one of the biggest misconceptions. The other one is, well, like, I do breath work because I count to 5 when I inhale and count to 10 when I exhale. And again, that is a kind of breathwork technique. But there are so many modalities that take you into such depths on a physical level, like Wim Hof, for instance, on an emotional level, and on a spiritual level, like transformational breath. So it really depends on what do you want, and it's not that one is better than the other. Sometimes
they complement each other.
Exactly. Sometimes there's the mentality like, I do this kind of breath work and that's the best. Well, that's great for a thing. So there's always having that flexibility helps you to expand the tools that you have and how you're able to use them, for sure.
So if I put that into my world of yoga, there's not one style of yoga but different style of yoga, and depending on how active is your life. For example, if your life is very active, then you'll tend to want to have a restorative yoga practice so that you're balancing the yin and the yang in your body.
Exactly. Right? Correct.
Perfect. So that being said, where do you see this type of techniques, and where do you see that into the world, into our today's world, with everything that's going on? How do you think it's gonna evolve over the next year, 3 years, 10 years?
I think, and I've heard this mentioned a few times by different people in the media, calling breathwork the new yoga. And breathwork is still very new as a modality in the mainstream. Of course, the oldest form of breathwork is pranayama, the modality of the yogic breathing, and from there a whole bunch of other ones have been born. But I definitely think that because of, and that's just also my experience, because of how quickly you get results with breath work. After one session, you feel completely different. After 20 minutes, after an hour, whatever time you're doing it, you feel completely different, and the results start to stack up. So the more I do think that in the future, the more people are exposed to it, at least again, it's been my experience that once people try it, it's kind of like me when I first tried it, just kind of get hooked on it. I was like, I want to do more of this. So I do think in the next 3 years, it's going to start to become much more mainstream than it is right now. And in 5 or 10 years, it's really going to be as popular as yoga in studios and things like that. Just because I think right now as a society, one of the things we need most is just letting go, just releasing the layers and layers of tension, of emotions, of trauma, of everything that we're all holding, and just step back into our essence. And that is one of the things that breathwork does beautifully.
So all the big pharmas out there won't be too happy about it.
Yes, no, they will not, because you are your own drug. You are finding your own medicine within you. So yes, and I'm all for it.
So we live in a world where we are very busy. Social media marketing doesn't help us, and that causes stress on its own. What advice do you have for the people out there who have one job, maybe 2 jobs to pay all their bills, or 3 jobs, and don't really have time to put the practice on a regular basis? What advice do you have for them?
I have just one advice, and that is take whatever time you have. If you have 3 minutes, if you have 5 minutes, and if all you do is simply focus on open and expanding your breath and relaxing and letting go, you're going to be so much better off. And it's going to work kind of like a cascade, because as you start to just feel a little bit better, then you realize the things stressing you out are not that important. They're not that crucial. They're not so life or death. And you will start to find that time and that way to learn more and get your own practice going. But again, just start little. Start with 3 minutes, really just focusing on expanding your breath as much as you can and relaxing and letting go. That is probably one of the best ways to start, and to become aware of your breath, to become aware of when you are holding your breath, when you're stressed, how are you breathing, when you're angry or when you're sad, how is your breath then, and very consciously start to just change it. And there's a whole bunch of tools that you can learn for that, but it all starts with just bringing awareness, and that's something that everyone can do on their own.
That reminds me one of the stories from Eckhart Tolle in his book The Power of Now, New Earth, where he explains that something really a situation that's very stressful happened to a couple, and then when you look back years later, it actually seems so minuscule, but
yes,
on the spur of the moment, it was so stressful, and there was a lot of negative emotion and things like that. So by breathing, actually you're stopping the ego for putting all those negative emotions and making things fire up, adding the gas on the fire. And the breath actually helps quiet the ego, and you becoming aware to actually find that peace and being in the moment.
That's correct. And on that sense, that's exactly what the breath does. And also in a very physical sense, the other thing the breath does is, as you become more aware, as you become to release those layers of tension, what happens is you start to retrain your breath, because we all have dysfunctional breathing patterns. You look at a baby breathe, and they breathe fully and expansively and with their belly and super open, and we do not do that, because as we go through life, we learn to hold on to our emotions with our breath, And very quickly our body learns that if I just lock it up, that's a little bit easier for you because that's what you seem to do anyways. And with that, we are now adding layer upon layer of contraction, which is not allowing us to just really step into who we truly are, into taking as much oxygen. First off, oxygen is life. So how can we feel better if I don't have all that ability to have everything that I'm meant to have in my body?
So would you say that breath work helps us break our limited beliefs?
Absolutely. For a few reasons, and one of them is that on a very physical sense, we hold on to emotions and trauma with our breath. And it is done at a completely unconscious level. And so as we release them, then all of a sudden the foundation of those limiting beliefs are not there, because those foundations were created on the basis of how we were feeling at the time and how contracted we were and our limited vision of the world at that point. And so as we expand and just become more aware, then all of a sudden you realize, hey, I am capable of so much more. And you're able to also expand your mind and realize that we are so much more than just this physical body, that our energy is endless and it's connected to the energy of everything else. So you start to just go out of those layers that are keeping you into those limiting beliefs, for sure.
So someone who will be working through traumas from childhood or have some serious illness like brain tumor or cancer, would you recommend any type of breath work, or would that be something to work one-on-one?
Definitely with anything that is a little bit more severe, like you're saying, like severe traumas or illnesses or whatnot. Definitely I always recommend a one-on-one session, because in and of itself breath work is entirely powerful. And when you're by yourself, it could even get a little bit scary. Right. So definitely I always would recommend in those cases in specific just a private session to allow that guidance and that someone holding space for you to move you along in the direction that is best for you and that your breath wants to go.
And have you yourself experienced or seeing the evolution of someone healing from those different illnesses or traumas?
Absolutely. In terms of emotional traumas, I can tell you I myself have experienced just such deep healing of things that were very deep into my unconscious, that my unconscious had deemed too scary to even bring up into the conscious mind, and that in breathing sessions have come up, which again, it could be traumatic in and of its own, but the beautiful thing about the breath is that the breath took care of it. So it wasn't like, okay, now I'm aware of this and now I'm re-traumatized because now I'm aware of this thing that happened. It's like, yeah, I'm aware, and also I've let go, and also I've processed that. So that is one of the most beautiful things that breathwork has done for me, and I have seen it in so many people, and also on a physical level. One of the things that we do when we open up the breath is we're making more energy available to our body, for our body to heal. It's not, and by no means I heal anybody, but if what we can achieve is open up the breath, then all of a sudden, if you don't have so much tension holding, we don't realize how much energy it takes to hold down that tension that we're always carrying. And as soon as we liberate that, then our body has all this surplus energy to keep us well, to keep us healthy, not just to keep us barely surviving, but to keep us alive and healthy, and to do what it knows how to do best. So that is one of the great benefits of the breath, for sure.
So people who will find those tools will heal, and then we're like, oh, I'm healed, I don't need to do it anymore, I can move on to something else in life. So why is that when people find good tools and have released or worked on things that they need to work, they don't keep that as a discipline or as a regular routine? Why is that?
Why is it? Because we are human and life gets in the way, and we tend to look for help when we are in pain. That was my case. I probably wouldn't have come across it if I had just wasn't super great, and there were many years that I wasn't doing great, but I wasn't terrible, so I wasn't looking for anything. So very often we need to get to that place where it's like, okay, no more, because either we're really sick or depressed or whatever it is, to seek help. And then we have a very short-term memory. We forget how easy it was to get to that place. So definitely, I always say that, like everything else, having that practice and having that ongoing support, it's incredibly important, because life happens. And even though you might have healed or processed emotions that were, just bringing you to a very contracted space, even though that is taken care of, life continues to happen. And there's new experiences we need to process all the time. And if we don't have an outlet, then the contraction begins again. And now we go into that cycle again. So in terms of wellness, there's nothing like prevention, there's nothing like dealing. I cannot tell you how many times or things in my life have happened since I've been doing breath work, that as soon as I start to feel them or go through them, I'm like, okay, time to breathe, and I go for an hour session, and I'm like, okay, good, done, taken care of. But I know that if I hadn't, that starts to pile up again.
So it's like brushing your teeth. You need to take care of your body.
Exactly.
And it's very important to have a community, to have a tribe.
Absolutely.
Keep each other accountable.
That's
and
right.
also when things start to go in the negative side, because 80% of our thoughts are negative. We are just human at the end of the day. So keep yourself accountable and communicating with what's going on, right? But let's go back to the Wim Hof. You went to Poland.
I did, yes.
My country.
Yes. I forgot about that.
In the south, where the cold is extremely cold, so it's a different cold than in Canada.
Yes, it is.
Tell us about your experience, and how did you find your first interaction with Mr. Wim Hof?
Well, that was actually the second one. The first one had been in the Netherlands, and it's home on my first instructor course. This was the second one. But it was honestly one of the greatest experiences of my life, on many levels. The first one being just being completely immersed in nature, getting that experience. And again, we have cold here, but like you said, it is a different kind of cold, and being surrounded by the tribe, by all the other Wim Hof method instructors, was incredibly empowering. And again, one of the few instances in my life where I felt extremely challenged mentally has been going to Poland with the knowledge that at the end of the course I would be climbing up a mountain, Mount Śnieżka, at minus 15 degrees in nothing but shorts and a tank top.
And Mount Śnieżka means the snow mountain, so it carries its name.
And it certainly does. This was November, and it was incredibly full of snow, so it sure does honor to its name.
So you walked on the mountain for about 2 hours?
3 hours. Almost 3 hours.
Okay.
And again, at this point, I had been doing the method for a while. I had been doing ice baths. And still, the mind is the mind.
So what were you thinking? Like, how did you stop your mind to say, let's go back? I can't take this anymore. My legs are burning.
To be honest, in the beginning, and the biggest battle, to be honest, was not even on the mountain. It was before even getting there. The week leading up to it, thinking, what am I doing here? By the way, I've never climbed a mountain before. I'm not a mountain climber. Prior to even really getting in breathwork, I was not super active either. So I've only started to take care of my body in the last few years. So I was like, well, this doesn't seem like a great idea. But I felt like for the weeks leading up to it, I had a tug of war in my mind. The one hand saying, this is crazy. Why are you doing it? You are not a mountain climber. This is dangerous. You are going to have to come down in a stretcher to the ambulance. All the worst possible scenarios.
And I don't speak Polish.
And I don't speak Polish. Exactly. And the other side of my mind was saying, hey, you've done really hard stuff. Maybe not like this, but you've gone through really hard things in your life that you've overcome. And hundreds of people do this every year with Wim Hof, and nobody has died. Nobody has had any serious falls from it or anything really terrible. So it is safe. I know logically it is safe. But then it was this tug of war pulling from one side to the other. And the beautiful thing was that I got, in my training, I had such great tools to rely on, and I kept waiting for the magic pill. I kept waiting for this awesome thing that they would tell me that just would not make me feel the cold. And we just kept going through the course, and that wasn't coming up. And I'm like, what is happening? When are we gonna get that thing that is gonna allow us to climb the mountain? And what it was the breath. It was nothing but the breath, but being fully aware of your breath, elongating your exhales, relaxing your body, truly being aware. It was a complete exercise on awareness of where my body is, where my shoulders, my jaw, my chest is. Are they tight? Are they contracted? Or can I just breathe and relax and keep walking? And this has been one of the most profound learnings of my life, not because anybody taught it to me, but because I experienced it. As we were climbing up the mountain, all the fears kind of stopped. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm focusing on my breath. I'm focusing on relaxing, on being aware. And within about 20 minutes or so, I was fine. I was even looking around. I'm like, I can see all the snow, and I know it's cold, and I can feel my legs and they're cold. But I am not cold. And that was just such a profound realization, because at that moment I realized that my body is so incredibly wise, and not just mine, everybody's. Our bodies are so wise. And that the minute that I relaxed,
And accepted.
Exactly. I accepted what it was. I stopped contracting. I stopped fighting it, which again takes an enormous amount of energy. Energy that if you just let go, your body's smart enough to know that, hey, I can use this energy to keep you warm. And by the way, we were also climbing a mountain, which is an energy mover in and of itself. So all of a sudden my body was like, okay, we got this. We got enough energy from you climbing the mountain, and from you now that you've relaxed, we got this. And so now I realize how many times in my life, not just in the cold, but in my life, I am draining my body of vital energy that I could be using to create, to explore, to be happy. And instead I'm using it to contract and be stressed and worry. So that just in and of itself was a life-changing realization.
Before you climbed the mountain, did you do, so you did the breath work with Wim Hof, and then did you do it every other, like...
No, we did it in the morning, then we got on the bus, we went, and that's it. That's all it takes. It's not something that we had to keep going to continue to do. It just, again, our bodies are so wise. The effects of the Wim Hof breathing, the physical effects, actually last you for quite a long time, to help you, to support you in the cold exposure part of it as well.
So when you do your workshops here in Toronto, we do the breath work and then we take the cold bath. So why that sequence of breathing first and then going to the cold?
One of the reasons is that when we're breathing in the way that we breathe with the Wim Hof breathing technique, is that we release adrenaline into our body. And adrenaline kind of helps, it doesn't erase it completely, but it helps to dull some of the nerve endings. So it's kind of like if you've ever played a sport and you get hurt and you're like, I'm okay, and you keep running. and then it's only at the end of the day that you're like, oh, whoa, I really hurt myself. But you continue to run, you continue to just get along because your body's full of adrenaline and is able to just continue. That is one of the reasons. The other reason is the mindset that it puts you in. It puts you into just a very calm mindset at the very end, especially, where you're just like, okay, I'm good. And there is less interference from the brain,
The fight
or flight response. Correct. So that is one of the reasons why we do it in that sequence.
So for people who have a career, leaders, influencer, how can they apply, or just someone, anybody who has like a family and children, how can they apply, things that you have learned, or how do you apply what you've learned in Poland into your life, into your career? How can you relate taking that experience into anybody's life experience?
There's a couple of levels that you can apply it at. You can apply it on the mental level, which to me coming back was, oh my God, I never ever in 1,000 years thought I would be able to do that. And I was sure that it would end terribly. And yet I did it. Like I came back and it was like, I cannot explain the euphoria I felt once we got to the top, because it was just this crazy thing. And from then on, coming back into my life, then when obstacles just in daily life present itself, and of course there's the mind that will tell you you can't do it, it's not going to work, whatever, what it always does. Now I have proof, very tangible proof, that I can do so much more, that my body can do so much more than what the mind will ever give it credit for. So that amazing. In and of itself, to have that solid proof, to know like, hey, I got this, like if I can do this, what can't I do?
Right.
It's incredibly empowering. And so that's on the mental level. On a very physical level, you start to retrain your stress response, because the cold is a stressor, and we train it with the breath. All of a sudden, when you're experience stress at work, with your kids, or in the world, then physiologically it's the same stress that you're experiencing in an ice bath, just in a different modality. But your body knows, when you experience this kind of stress, adrenaline, cortisol in your body, which are the stress hormones, then you kind of breathe like this. So I'm going to help you out and automatically do that, because that's what you do when you're in an ice bath. And so just like everything else, it's conditioning. And that is why, again, going back to having the practice is so important, because that is how we retrain our body. That's how we retrain our stress response.
So a lot of athletes have that practice that they take ice bath after their rigorous training.
Yes.
However, they don't do the breathing part. What are they missing?
They're missing a couple of key parts, and that is they're getting the benefit of the inflammation, and that is why they do it. Of course, cold in and of itself is a huge anti-inflammatory agent. However, they're missing the breath. And I have seen videos of NFL players who are these huge guys and super tough, and of course I have ice bath settings in their training facilities, and going into an ice bath and yelling and cursing and staying in there out of sheer will, because they're trained to do so, they stay. But it's with you can look at them and there's an incredible amount of tension and cursing and everything, and the one thing they don't do is relax and breathe. And so they're missing the experience of rewiring that stress response so that it serves them elsewhere, also in their sport, but also in their life. That's what they're missing when they don't do that.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, we have a bonus at the end of the interview, so if you guys stay, and I encourage you to stay all the way till the end, Mayte will do a short Wim Hof demonstration for us. So let's move into breathwork. I mean, we did talk already about it. How do you help people who are overwhelmed with, sadness, depression? Is there a different technique that's used? Is there a different type of breath? and how can they use that breath work to improve their life at first?
Yes. Wim Hof is one of the breathing techniques, the breathwork techniques that I would recommend. But another one, especially when dealing with sadness, with depression, is called Transformational breath, of which I am trained in. And the reason why this technique is so powerful is because it allows us to dive deep into our emotional body, into the depths of our physical body that are holding the emotions that were created when we had something go wrong in our lives that is triggering that depression, that is triggering that sadness. And so we start to go in a loop. And so the minute that we start to just get rid of those contracting patterns and liberate that energy, then all of a sudden I can just be well, and I don't have to have that heaviness on top of me. So that is one of the amazing breathwork techniques that I have found. I have really explored a lot, and I decided to go with this one in particular because it really allows you to go, again, like in my case, deep into the subconscious, and bring up whatever is there in a very safe way, in a way that it's entirely safe if you're being guided and facilitated by someone trained, and allows you to process that, and more so gives you the tool so that as life happens, we continue to train ourselves to just open up and release what's there and continue to be well. So definitely, again, as we were talking in the beginning, there are different breathwork modalities for whatever outcome you may have. So that is for sure one of them. The other one would be also the heart math, heart coherence technique, which is very focused on calming down the fight or flight system, which when we are in a depressed, especially post-traumatic stress disorders, things like that, it's always on. So it's focused on calming that down and reconnecting us to the wisdom of our heart through our breath. So yeah.
So just to clarify, when in yoga someone will meditate, there are different techniques, just like the modalities in breath work. One of them will be the Ujjayi breath, where you breathe in and out of your nose. You can use a mantra so that you keep your mind focused on something if you cannot focus on the breath, or you will light a candle and close your eyes but feel or visualize that candle, the light behind your eyes. What's the difference, or how can you describe in your own words when someone go through a breath work, how is the breath being utilized, and also if you can compare it with Wim Hof?
Sure. So Wim Hof, again, is a type of breath work, but what we're doing in terms of the breath is allowing us to open up gates that we've kind of closed. So and one of the differences, not all of the breathing techniques, but a lot of them, especially the emotional integrative breathwork techniques, such as transformational breath, are done with a mouth open, which is very different than Ujjayi breath or pranayama, which is generally through the nose. And the reason being is that as we open the mouth, then there is a bigger release that can happen on emotional terms. We can't hold on to control and tension as much when we are breathing in and out through our mouth, especially in a rhythmic way. So that is, I guess, one of the bigger things. And Wim Hof, the biggest difference is that Wim Hof incorporates breath holds, which again are meant to put your body in a fight or flight situation, for the purpose of training your body how to deal with it in a way that is very safe, and that allows you to feel really good, but also slowly train your body into feeling better. And of course, there is the cold exposure component, which none of the other breathwork techniques do. That's just Wim's own thing, which is combining the cold exposure with the breath. So yes.
What I found from my experience when I do the breath work with you or the Wim Hof, I have a lot of sensation in my hands, a lot of tingling, and the reason being is the hands are connected to the heart. So there are messages of things that are happening within me that I'm not aware, so limited beliefs or trauma that I'm trying to clear, but at the unconscious level, and that is being communicated from the heart to the hands. So everybody I know will have different experience.
Absolutely,
but I was mine.
And that's a great thing you mentioned that, because yes, everybody has a very, very different experience, because our number one, our breath pattern is as unique as our fingerprint. I'm about to start a 6-week online course, and one of the things I've been doing with everyone who's registering is doing breath analysis for each one of them. And for the past week, that's pretty much all I've been doing. And it never ceases to amaze me how different our breathing patterns are. Like, you think, well, we all inhale and exhale, and yet the actual patterns are so different when you really start to witness them, because we've all had very different life experiences. So yes, and that as you start to breathe, the breath is incredibly wise, our bodies are incredibly wise, and so the breath will go to where you need it most. And in your case, it's the hands to be connected to the heart, and for someone else it may be in the lower belly, for someone else it may be in the shoulders. It's just all very different, and it's exactly what you need, because again, you're not relying on someone's diagnosis of you. It's your own body's wisdom taking you there.
Yeah, that's beautiful, the intelligence of the body. So talk to us about the program. It's launching tomorrow.
Yes, it is. I'm super excited. We are almost sold out. I have a couple of spots left, but we are very excited because...
Make sure you sign up, guys.
Yes, we'll put the link here. It's a program that I've been working on for very many months, because one of the things that I started to realize, I've been teaching now for a few years, and I started to realize that there's a lot of people that come to the workshops before COVID, and they would have an amazing experience and loved it and said they were going to do it, and again, life gets in the way. And so what I wanted to do was something that would create, that wouldn't give just people the tools, Wim Hof, Transformational breath, heart math, a whole bunch of tools to use for different things, and teach them how to use them, how to self-prescribe, if you will, different modalities of breath work according to what you're going through in your life and what you need at each particular moment. But also to give people the consistency to train together, because when you tell a friend, I'm going to meet you tomorrow at 6, you make sure that you are there tomorrow at 6.
Right.
But if you tell yourself, I'm going to breathe tomorrow at 6, you may or may not do it depending on how the stars are aligned. And we all do that. And one of the great things about breath work is precisely that or not all, but a lot of the really great benefits come with the practice, come with sticking to it. So as you do, you start to reap amazing benefits. So I really wanted people to get all those benefits, and not just get the initial benefits of feeling good in a breathwork session in a workshop, but actually develop a practice and stick to it. So it's a 6-week program, 2 classes per week, and we're going to have accountability partners and tracks that everybody can practice at home on the days that we are not getting together, so that again, it's kind of like boot camp. So by the end of the 6 weeks, then your body's like, okay, this is what we're doing. And maybe you're not breathing every day, but maybe you'll breathe 2 days a week, and that's already so much better than not breathing at all. So I'm very excited, especially because we have an amazing group of people. I know Joe is here and he's going to be in the course.
Amazing.
So I'm super excited, because this is my baby, and I want everyone to get all the amazing results and experiences that I have gotten. So this is just my my sharing it with the world in a way that is easy, that is comfortable, that it's in line with where we're going right now, which is we can't really get together.
Yep.
And even, I mean, we have people from the States in the course, from Mexico, from here. So it's a very, very cool group of people. So if you're interested, we'll post a link here and you can sign up. We only have, I think, 1 or 2 spots left. So make
Amazing.
Sure to
So
sign up.
it starts tomorrow and then it's
Yes.
every Tuesday and Thursdays.
Correct. Every Thursday and Tuesdays for a period of 6 weeks. Yes.
So can breathwork improve your productivity at home? Like we talk about limited beliefs and disease and other traumas. How about being productive? How about helping being more focused on the things that you need to do? Because with COVID now, most of the people are working from home.
Of course.
And that's on its own, it's a challenge.
Of course, absolutely. Because what we're doing with breathwork is we're getting rid of all the clutter in our minds, but also in our bodies. So as we do that, again, we create a lot more space for what we truly need to focus on. If it's work, to really be 100% present instead of having our attention pulled a million different ways, because that's just what it's used to. So yes, I can absolutely help productivity. It's massively increased just my focus and my own productivity as well.
So in terms of mindset, what is a mindset that's important to you and how do you set it up?
For me, I always want to set an intention before my practice. And that intention has to be set in the positive, as in, not saying I don't want to be stressed, but I want to experience peace. And go beyond the I want, because our minds kind of, if I'm saying I want, then it's my mind is always projecting it into the future. Well, yeah, but I'm always living in the present. So instead of saying I want, I'm like, well, I am peace. I am calm. I am present. And so again, I'm sending that message to my brain that this is already happening right now, because the reality is that our energy is already there. We just need to get rid of everything that's in the way. So having an intention, setting it in the positive, setting it in the present, and also finding reasons, leverage. Why do I want to do this? Why is it a must? Because we don't do things when they are nice things to do or we should do things. We do things when we must do them, when it's really just crucial and important for us to just get them done. That's when we truly get them things. So for me, my breathwork practice is just, it's a non-negotiable. Like I want to feel productive and I want to feel connected and I want to feel well. And so I'm going to do my practice. So again, having those reasons, having the leverage to get me even when I don't want to, and I'm just like, just to push through it, and to have that mindset is incredibly valuable for sure.
That reminds me when we talk about taking a cold shower in the morning. We know it's gonna be cold and we don't want to. Our hand is barely, making the the turn to the cold. However, we know we're gonna feel good. So
that's correct.
We still do it.
So we do. Yes, that is correct.
I just want to touch quickly on the I am and being present. So that's back to your NLP training, right?
Correct,
the
yes.
mind doesn't see a difference between the present or the future. So whatever you feed to your mind will believe it. That's why visualization is so powerful, which is also a technique you use during the breath work.
That's correct. Absolutely. So we're using the state, the very deep state that breathwork puts us into to kind of retrain our mind and steer it towards where we want to go. And so if you guys want, we can do a little bit of breathing. Because I think we're already at 53 minutes.
Yes, so we'll get into the rapid fire questions and then we'll do that. But one more question before that.
Yeah.
What healthy habits have you created for yourself and how have they evolved over time?
Well, definitely breathwork has been one of them, and it's both that and cold exposure with the Wim Hof method has drastically improved my health, and just I haven't gotten sick in a really, really long time thanks to it. And so that has evolved from breathing, a few, maybe once, twice a week, to breathing every day, to now breathing more than once a day. But again, we start with little. We start with what we can do, because if I'm really hard on myself and say, hey, I need to breathe 7 times a week, and if I don't do it, then I'm only gonna feel worse about it. So if I'm supposed to breathe once or twice a week and I do it, then I'm gonna feel great. So that's kind of how my habits have evolved, as well as running and exercising and just being in connection with myself through meditation, and just doing anything that feels good for me, that nourishes my body and my soul.
And connect with nature.
That's true. Yes. I love nature. So.
All right, let's go into the rapid fire question. So just a short answer to the question, whatever comes to mind. Okay. So what's your morning routine?
So I wake up, I breathe, then I have breakfast with my husband, and I go for a run.
Very nice. And then you collect stones, or you always find something running.
I do, yes.
What is a perfect moment creator for you?
A perfect moment creator for me is being in nature. That, I think, anytime that I'm in nature, it creates a very magical moment for me. So.
Beautiful. What was your life transforming book?
Life transforming book. There's so many, but Stealing Fire is one of them. Very, very good book. Yeah.
Very nice. What does excellence mean to you?
Excellence means doing the very best I know I could do, and being just happy with what I wanted this to be, and letting go of expectations of the rest.
Beautiful. What is the sound of success?
The sound of success is woo!
Very nice. What is your favorite meal?
My favorite
meal? I know you love food. You're a big foodie.
Meal. So many, but tacos would have to be a favorite. Yes.
And last question, what is your quest?
My quest is to find a way to live a life that is aligned with what I value, and to make the most out of every moment, to be connected with myself, to be authentic, to live with integrity, and to be able to share light with others.
Beautiful. Well, before we get into the breathing session, I want to take a moment and acknowledge you, Mayte. Most of everybody and I think everybody will agree with me, that you have a contagious smile and positive attitude, and you always delight in the room. So thank you, for that. Thank you for bringing to our communities all these beautiful techniques to get better at life, and also for being such an inspiration for us to follow our intuition, follow our passion, and take a leap of faith.
Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that.
Thank you. So if you don't have any final remarks, we can go into the bonus session.
Yes, let's go into the bonus section.
Right.
Okay. So thank you guys for sticking with us. So what we're gonna do is just do a quick demo of the Wim Hof method. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna breathe deeply from the bottom of our belly all the way through the top of our chest. And we can breathe in through our nose, out through our mouth. And we're gonna make those breaths as expansive as we can, but we're also gonna have a bit of a rhythm to it. And it's gonna feel like you're breathing a lot faster than you used to. That's exactly correct. Just a quick safety announcement: if anybody has epilepsy who's watching this, please do not do this. Or pregnant women, we do not recommend holding your breath if you are pregnant. Other than that, if you have any cardiovascular issues that are not being controlled, don't do this. If they are being controlled, you can do this. Just do this sitting down instead of lying fully back down. Anyways, so now, and most of you are gonna be doing it sitting down anyways. So we're gonna start breathing fully in, and we're gonna do about 30 breaths or so. You don't have to worry, I'll count. And when I tell you to, we're gonna inhale, exhale, or we're gonna hold our breath. And we're gonna hold it for a period of time. If you absolutely need to breathe, of course, you can. But otherwise, just stay with me. And then once I tell you to, we're gonna inhale together and hold again just for a little bit, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna set up a timer just to make sure that we can do it for the breath holds. Okay, so if you will, close your eyes. It helps to just focus inwards. So we're gonna start breathing all the way from the bottom of our belly through the top of our chest, fully in. Fully in and relaxing out. Deep breath in. Full breath in. Relax out. All the way in. Relaxing out. Keep on breathing. Stay with the breath. Breathing even deeper at every breath. Can you expand a little bit more to the sides this time? Can you feel the breath expanding to the front and to the back of you? And can you feel the breath expanding and making you taller, expanding from the bottom to the top? Keep on breathing. Just a few more breaths and we're gonna hold our breath, so give it all you got. Keep on breathing. It is safe to breathe. It's safe to let go. Five more breaths and we're gonna hold our breath at the bottom of the exhale. So give it all you have. 3 more. Last breath in, we're breathing fully in, exhaling out, and hold your breath at the bottom of the exhale. And as you hold your breath, just place your entire attention on the feelings and sensations in your body, without judging them, without qualifying them. Just letting them be and relaxing into the hold, because our relaxed body can hold on to so much more oxygen. And we're breathing together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breathing fully in and hold at the top. And just hang out here, no tension. Just a pause for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out. Great job. And we're gonna do another round. Again, deep breaths. Expanding, relaxing, expanding, letting go easily and gently, relaxing that exhale. There's no need to force it. Sometimes we can just let go. And can you make every breath even deeper than the last one? Can you challenge what is comfortable? Can you step outside of your comfort zone and into who you really are, into what your body's capable of doing? Start to breathing your intention, that intention that you're setting at the beginning of this live. Start to breathe it in. Breathing into that rhythm. Becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable, pushing past the mind. Just being aware of the feelings and sensations, knowing it is all safe and this is just your body adapting. Your body is doing what it knows how to do best and adapt if we can just get out of the way. And so we're going to take 5 more deep breaths, and we're going to hold our breath again. So here we go. 3 more. 2. Last breathing fully in, relaxing out, and hold your breath. And as you hold, can you just relax your jaw? Soften your shoulders. Relax and release your chest. It's a pause without any tension. And just stay here, feeling your whatever sensations are going through your body, knowing it is all safe, that your body is adapting, and we're only gonna hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax and let go. Breathing fully in, holding your breath at the top. And just witnessing the quiet in your mind. And let go. Exhale out. And very gently, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You're welcome. My pleasure.
Make sure to share how you feel after this short meditation. And if you want more, then sign up for Mayte's Breathwork starting tomorrow.
Yes, we have 1 or 2 spots, so yeah, make sure you register. We'll post the link. Love to see you guys. And yeah, just explore breathwork. Really just dive into it, and it'll be one of the most amazing journeys you can take.
Yeah, and add the cold shower to it.
Yes, and the cold exposure as
and
well.
then you have Mayte's sound of the success. Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome,
really
Florence.
appreciate your
My
time
pleasure.
with us. I hope
Very
you
welcome.
guys learn, or at least got one main takeaway that you can add and make a difference to your own life. Share with your friends, your family. This will be posted on my YouTube channel, Jiu-Jitsu Yoga. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and you'll be notified of the next upcoming videos or interviews that I have. The next one is on July the 30th with dear friend John DePaz. He's the owner of High End Fitness. He's also a health and wellness coach. He used to be a bodybuilder, and he will share his story with us, and we'll also have some surprises, so make sure to put it in your calendar. And we'll make sure to link your upcoming workshop, and also where anybody can connect with you.
Absolutely, yes, we will post it. There are the links on Facebook. You can find me at Unplugged Breathwork. That's my page. On Instagram, you can find me at Mayte, MAYTE _breathe_live. And yeah, just reach out. And if you guys have any questions, I'm always happy to answer any questions you guys may have in my social media channels, and just support you on your journey.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for those wise words.
So
stay healthy, stay well, and stay wise.
Yes.
And until next time, have a great evening, guys.
Have a great evening, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.